Right, so Skullkiller came out yesterday. Very happy to see it. We were expecting either Black Gold or Skullkiller. We've seen the progress of Skullkiller. I've made quite a lot of videos over time talking about what's going to be going on with Skullkiller, like preparing for investor impatience. That I made that like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I knew I knew many people would get too impatient and start dumping their Skullkiller clothing because if you recall, I did point out that had oversaturation. It was only by a few thousand, but even today we've noticed problems. So I reckon I just need to jump right into it and explain what I need to explain. So, whilst this is all very nice, we don't need to worry about this just yet. But if you see my video, my rust door rotation video, well, we were right there and ready to see Skullkiller pants, hoodie, chest plate, and face mask jump up in price because, well, the reactionary nature of the rust economy. When a core piece, so let me elaborate. Sorry, I need to breathe real quickly. Core pieces, tier 3, tier 2 and clothing. When one of them has already appeared, when a new piece appears, the pre-existing core pieces usually jump up in price. And well, with the Skullkiller face mask, that's super easy to see because look at that. Oh wow. When the tier 2 finally appeared yesterday, it went from around $3 and shot up to about $4.50, $5 at one point. Much better than where it was before. But right now it's currently sitting at $4.30. And oh look, there's a 29 there, which is perfectly nice to see for what I'm about to talk about. So if you recall, during the Rust or Rotation video yesterday, the stream, if you were here watching live, I talked about the problem with the clothing. And that was, if you saw the difference between the tier 3 and the clothing already had like 250 quantity each. And then we saw the tier 2 appear. And I didn't really see the numbers change that much. After about 20 minutes, I was confused. And then I realised people were dumping. So, oh wow, Skullkiller clothing's just kind of gone ever so slightly up in price. I need to sell all of my stock. Oh dear. So, if we recall yesterday, there was a guy with like 109 quantity on the market. And I did kind of put down two potential explanations about what was going on. Number one, the easiest answer was there was one guy that bought tons of the Skullkiller clothing, which we had pointed out before. So we just quickly look here. We acknowledged that Skullkiller clothing was kind of in saturation in comparison to the tier 3, where these two had around 21,000 sales. The average amount of the tier 3 armour had about 17.5 to 18,000 sales. These had about a few thousand excess purchases compared to the tier 3. And I did allude to the fact that in the future we're probably going to be seeing a whole lot more of these appearing on the market. We're very likely going to be seeing signs of dumping at some point. And as time went on, in waiting for this tier 2 armour to appear, yes, more and more and more of these appeared. And for quite a long time, Skullkiller clothing was below its rust door price. Ever so slightly. It kept going a bit up, it kept going a bit down, kept going a bit up, kept going a bit down. It was a bit of a problem, and that's the reason why I had to make that video about investor impatience. So, we're past it. It's now here. Everybody's happy. But what's going to go on from here on now? Well, it doesn't look like Skullkiller plants. Sorry. Skullkiller pants and hoodie. I can say it. I can speak English. I'm very good at it. Yes, yes. So, Skullkiller clothing, we'll just say that. They're not going to progress any higher in price because look at all the dumping that's going on. Is this lazy people? Probably. Is this ignorant people? Very likely. By ignorant, I mean people not wise enough in regards to how to properly approach this to make the best profits. I always sit here and say, smell. I can't talk today. Oh, profits. No, you're not going to get any now because, but sell in appropriate batches of maybe 5. If you're really trying, 10, but 5 would be the best amount. And I think I can show that off. I was selling quite a lot. just earlier today. There we go. So I sold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 batches of hoodies earlier because I've kind of given up on these potentially going even anywhere. I do not think Skullkiller clothing is going to progress very nicely. So I thought, yeah, if everybody's going to be putting up walls, I might as well just sell mine now and move on. Because I did make a profit, but it's like, yeah, too many people doing this. But this could also be a bit of a naughty reason. So we know about like buyout manipulation and whatnot, and I did allude to this in my Rust rotation. There might be people doing this on purpose. They might be doing this on purpose to scare other investors into dumping theirs at lower prices, aka below their prices, and then they'll buy out all the cheaper ones. And then as time goes on, they're the people that have the vast majority of the stock, and in the future they can easily pump it up because they have the controlling stock, the vast majority of it overall. Now, you're going to have a lot of money for that, and it's usually better off doing that for a lower quantity item or skin. And in this particular case, Skullkiller clothing sold 21,000 each almost. So I'm just led to believe it's very lazy people, just dumping whatever they have and hoping it all sells. Unfortunately, all those people doing that have kind of hit the brakes on this. It's killed its momentum. Yesterday we had about 250, now there's 370. I think Hoodie had about, still does, has about 450 almost. So we don't have that big 109 anymore, but we do have all these fat batches hidden here. So unfortunately, the clothing's kind of dead. It's not going to be progressing any further. I've sold mine. To play it safe, I would sit here and say you probably want to sell yours. But if you think, if I just hold on to it, surely it'll rise up in price in the future. Well, we don't have anything else to spike up the price of the core pieces. We now have all three of them, Tier 3, Tier 2 and clothing. It's already out there. I don't imagine anything else is going to cause the Skullkiller clothing and armour to shoot back up in price. If you recall, quite some time back, I said the exact same thing about copper. The only thing I could imagine with copper jumping up in price anytime soon is if it actually genuinely gains demand, or if like a YouTuber uses it. And if you see the current state of it all, yeah, clothing, and this is textbook. Very easy to see oversaturation, because this sold like 35,000 almost. This sold just over 33,000, but all the other pieces of the armour barely went above 26,000. So there was far too many of these to an excess. And now, how many of these are on the market? Because you can clearly see down 21%, down 40%. There is 317 here, and there's 250 there. Now that is lower than Skullkiller. That's lower than Skullkiller in terms of amount. So we're lucky that we have the price spike right now, and the interest is there, but that's not going to stick around forever. So do be cautious. Do be aware of what's likely going to be happening in about a week's time. It's probably going to go all the way back down. I've removed my buy orders on these. If you recall, yesterday I did like a $1 and a €1 buy order. Nope, removed it. Don't trust it anymore. And you can't see it there now. It's all gone. Yep. But the Tier 3 has progressed very nicely. Chest plate shot all the way back, up to $4. I believe it went higher last night. I might be wrong if I quickly refresh again. But yeah, Tier 3 is doing very nicely because it has a very, very perfectly reasonable amount on the market. No signs of oversaturation here. Oh, sorry, and now there's a dog outside. Why? But yeah, there is one guy here trying to dump 25. I mean, it did progress nicely at the very least. This actually did go up in price by quite a bit. But this guy's also causing the brakes to be hit, and the momentum's probably going to die off from here on now, unless someone swoops in and buys 25. I mean, anyone? But the face mask definitely progressed much better, but again, 30 here as well. But yeah, it took a while for these two to really go up in price, but they have done. Their quantities did go down, and the prices went up, as per usual. So yep, these have progressed very nicely. Progressed the first time when we got the clothing appearing, and it progressed again when we saw the Tier 2 finally appear. Skullkiller is now a complete set in terms of the core pieces. from here on now, it all depends on if people actually want to use it. It all depends if, well, I mean, if YouTubers or streamers use them. But will they maintain these prices? Very unlikely. And also, don't forget, in November time, we also do have the impending CSGO Major for November time. So, with everything I see here, I don't think it's going to hold. Now, this also applies to the likes of the AK, the SAR, the Thompson, the MP5, the LR300. All of these are going up in price as well with the progression of this. But now when this slowly cools off, these are probably going to go down. It all depends now if people actually stick to using this and constantly keep using it. It's a nice looking set. Looks very cool. We haven't had a blue set for a long time, but now we have it. Congratulations to Horror Meow and I can't remember your friend. I'm very sorry. Let's quickly go find out. I want to make sure I say the other guy's name. Just Mouse. Yes, thank you very much, you two. You did a very good job. And that was your first armour and clothing pieces, correct? Yes, it was. Oh, your only thing is Skullkiller, so very good though. You know, it's nice to see a new creator really take something off, and I think we can see the same thing happening with the likes of JPEG Collection with GBG. So good stuff, good stuff. Guys, now's your decision. Are you going to hold on to it for post-Christmas, post-Christmas January time, or are you going to sell now and buy back into it during November? The choice is yours. I reckon I might jump back in for November time. Depends what the amount on the market looks like, because I do worry that the clothing's always going to be very high in quantity, and that, of course, will kill its price. So, yeah, Skullkiller, good job, good job. Very good point that's been asked. What should you do with your weapons based on what we're seeing at the moment here with the sudden jump in price and interest with the Skullkiller now that we've got the tier 2? Well, I mean, it's up to you. Maybe in the long term, these prices might go up even further, but I've seen this many times with the AK already. When the tier 3 appeared, the AK went up in price. When the clothing appeared, the AK went up in price. And when the tier 2 appeared, it went up in price. But, you know, after this appeared, and there was about 2 or 3 weeks of nothing else, it went down. But then the clothing appeared, it went up. But when nothing appeared for a long time, it went down. And then finally we got the tier 2 appearing, and then it went back up. So, will it maintain its price now that we have a full collection of core pieces of the Skullkiller now? Or will it go back down again? I'm led to believe it's probably going to go back down again. So, here's the Skullkiller AR, currently selling right now for about $3, if I'm correct. Almost. And yep, this is its history. So, when did the Skullkiller face mask appear? Towards the end of July. So, we'll go back over to here. Oh, look. Jumped up in price. It went sitting here at around $1.20, $1.30, doubles in price. And then when nothing appeared, it went back down. Oh, look, Skullkiller clothing. Doubled in price. Oh, yeah, that's nice. Oh, wait, there's nothing else. Oh, look, tier 2 appeared just yesterday. It didn't double in price, but it definitely went back up again. Went up by about a good 25%. Yeah, up in price. Yep. So, yeah, you've seen it go up and down and up and down. Now it's gone back up. Not as high as before, but I don't think it'll be going up any further, and I don't think it'll be holding that price. So, yeah, choice is yours, but that AK probably is going to go back down in price, and I've sold like 30 of them. And I've made some decent money. I'm happy with it. I'm happy with the profit I made, and I'll put it towards new things to potentially make a profit on. Feels good.